This is part 30B of the 100-part movie, Jesus First, the Movie and Vision. This particular episode is called Kiss Elon Musk. In this episode, the blue fish, representing me or my memory, kisses Elon Musk, connects with Elon Musk. Before we dive into that kissing scene, Jesus wants me to bring attention to the blue fish, the fish that's kissing. Here are some words Jesus had a person write about the blue fish for this episode. You can read the whole article if you want by Googling the following title: Blue Fish Spiritual Meaning, Symbolism, and Totem, which was published December 20th, 22, by somebody named iNick1357. Look it up if you want. When it comes to understanding spiritual power, and I quote, when it comes to understanding spiritual powers and meanings, many people turn to animals for guidance. One of these animals is the blue fish, a powerful symbol that can reveal deeper insight into our lives. This fish symbolizes strength, courage, inner transformation based on its swiftness and agility in changing direction. Bluefish has a strong connection with communication between ourselves, others, and the divine. It serves as a messenger that encourages us to embrace change, explore expressiveness freely, and strive for greater personal growth. Bluefish totem animal. The bluefish spirit animal is a powerful symbol of instinct, emotional courage, and intuition. And get this, its presence in our lives reminds us to trust our instincts and not be afraid to go against the grain if we feel something is right or wrong. The blue fish also stands for strength in taking risks, facing our fears head on, and confidently exploring the unknown. This amazing creature can represent our potential to perform large numbers of complex maneuvers with quickness and agility, even when faced with danger. When we see the bluefish totem animal entering our lives, we should take it as an encouraging sign to think quickly and act decisively. The point, end quote, of course, the point, of course, is to keep that in mind as you think about how the bluefish represents swimming a different way like Rosa Parks and like Elon Musk, like Jesus and others, including myself. Now, on to Elon Musk and kisses. This is part 30B of the 100-part movie Jesus First, the Movie and Vision, as I said earlier. To remind you, what we are doing is creating an altar approximation for the purpose of easily remembering the comforting words of prophecy that Jesus gave me, called the Twisted Tree Prophecy. The word, W-O-R-D, or in other words, the prophecy, is the hope that Jesus gave me to guide me and comfort me on my journey. And the hope he gave me in the form of words and beliefs to help me, especially when it gets tough and I need special comfort because I may be swimming a different way than others. In this part, we ask and partially answer, why in the world would Jesus have Greg metaphorically kiss Elon Musk on the cheek each morning? And why would this image, a blue fish kissing Elon Musk, playing out on a shower curtain, be a thought which would comfort Greg, which would explain important things to Greg about his life? First, simply because that kissing image is designed to remind me of certain promises Jesus made me in the Twisted Tree prophecy, as I mentioned. Promises about how my life would be, how it would turn out for me, as spoken in the song Amazing Grace. There's a line that says, "The Lord has promised good to me. His word my hope secures." I'm comforted by fish kisses because Rosa Parks and Elon Musk are just the first in a cascading long list of people throughout history who Jesus has prompted to swim a way that is different, much different than those around them. And swimming this way, the way that others aren't, is hard for the blue fish. Elon Musk, like Rosa Parks, represents many more people like Gandhi, Joseph Smith, Jesus, and others who were asked to do the hard thing. Remembering how these backward swimmers were greeted and treated by the people around them helps prepare one's heart, my heart, and mind for what one Greg, is likely to encounter if he is called to swim a different way, or if you're called to swim a different way. What awaits you? It would be good to know, good to remind yourself so you have that expectation. As seen in the Twisted Tree prophecy, Elon Musk is being used as a parable. Jesus is using him as a parable, as a metaphorical understanding of someone who talks differently, is hugely a person who talks differently and is hugely preoccupied by certain treasures, by certain things that are fit for his particular mission on earth. And the thought of Elon Musk anticipates that he is going to be quite boring, quite irritating even, to those who are not called to a similar mission as Elon. His mission is so intense that a huge bulk of his time is spent talking about and acting on various companies that he's called to administer. He himself, probably, like Rosa Parks, Joseph Smith, Gandhi, and others, would claim that his life is not to be envied. In fact, he does say that. One reason is because of the imbalance these people have in their life. People that are called to swim a different way sometimes are quite imbalanced. Swimming differently, talking differently from other people's perspective, talking incessantly about things that are not normal and trending by the vast majority of people is not popular. So in the end, getting used to different means getting used to a life that is an approximation of other people who've had to get used to different and not get used to the same, even though it might feel like suffering, getting used to that. These groups of people that are called to be different, it is not unusual that these people will identify some parable, some person or groups of persons who do similar things, swim different ways. For example, Mormon pioneers have been used by members of the LDS faith. For example, you have a group of people, namely Mormons, members of the Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints, who have used their Mormon pioneer heritage. Sometimes they had kinfolk that were Mormon pioneers back in the 1800s. They've used these people as examples. They've recalled them. They've used them kind of like a totem, like a token, like an altar to remind them of the courage to be able to do things differently, because that's what Mormon pioneers did. And they can use these people, the memory of these people, to gather courage to do things that they are now bound to do by their covenants, their religious covenants, which may lead them and does lead them, if they do it, to religious cultural practices that are sometimes significantly different than the religious cultural practices that are sometimes significantly different than the cultural swimming normally going on around them. And the more different they must be, it's probably likely the more strongly they are comforted and return to and think about their Mormon pioneer heritage, where people did hard things at odds with their surrounding culture and society. Finally, what you can see is that the storyboard frame that shows Elon Musk being kissed by a bluefish, that represents me, is just a stopping place for my mind and heart to ponder a vast number of ways that an actual person who is alive, whose name is Elon Musk or Steve Wozniak or whoever's swimming a different way than society, shares certain experiences that these people share certain experiences that I may be struggling with myself by virtue of the direction that Jesus is having me swim in his waters. The point being, in the years to come, Jesus will comfort me with the thoughts not just of Elon Musk, but many, many other people, some contemporary and some in the past, and perhaps some in the future, people who've been called to swim a different way. The part 30A that we just watched represents an individual that Jesus is having do something, blah, 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 blah. Nope, got that right. Let's see. Okay, we'll jump right here. We can cut this part out right there. Take what we got there. One of the many things that I have to be reminded of by Jesus is, Greg, you're going to talk a lot more about Jesus than is culturally normal. 2 Nephi 25:26. We talk of Christ too much. We preach of Christ too much. We prophesy of Christ too much. We write according to the prophecies that Jesus gives us too much. Too much for regular fish who are swimming a different way. As Elon Musk talks of his businesses, I'm sure he does it too much. And that's what I need to be reminded of. That's what's in the Twisted Tree prophecy. A reminder that, Greg, you're not the only one who talks too much about certain things that are related to your mission. Elon Musk does, and Rosa Parks did, Gandhi did. That was their mission. So yeah, Jesus is smart. He's kind of pointing out in that prophecy something that's kind of obvious. Hey, Greg, you're not the only one that's talking differently than the vast majority of fish. There's some other fish who have peculiar missions, and it requires them to talk, think, write, things that others find inane and not correct, and so forth. But we need to be guided by Article Faith 11. Claim the privilege of worshiping Almighty God according to dictates of our own conscience and our particular mission, and allow all men the same privilege. Attempting to comfort yourself with the things that in a normal society people comfort normal people with simply won't work for those who have been born of God. By virtue of being born of God, they are no longer of the world. This is an interesting thing to talk about. Yes, it is. Well, this kind of feels like an insertion, I think it is, into this part. When you're born of God, by virtue of being born of God, you no longer, and you increasingly less and less, are of the world. Therefore, the things of the world are dead to those who are born of God. Or we could say they are increasingly dead to them, as it is a process. They become less and less comforted by the things of the world and as they become more and more born again. Or in other words, as you get more and more Jesus, the world, the comforts of the world reject you, and you aren't comforted by them. In the words of Don Quixote, seeking treasure where there's only trash, you realize, wow, that's what I was seeking. Although at different points in, well, be not fooled. The comforts of this world become less and less comforting the more and more you go into the wilderness with God, and the more He takes you into His kingdom. In fact, you can come to despise those treasures of the earth, those things that other people swimming a different way treasure, because they actually become entrapments. They dissuade you. They misdirect you. They take your attention where it shouldn't be. And that's how you could come to despise some of the comforts that people are being normally comforted in the world. Note that Elon Musk got rid of his big home, and probably he had plural homes, and built a $50,000 home. He also just lives with friends when he travels. He's not really big into getting and maintaining homes. That's different than a lot of people who become successful and famous.